Hello there, and welcome to episode 4 of Spectrum Magazines. This week we're looking at issue 80 of Your Sinclair, way back in August 1992. And as you can see, this is at the point of Your Sinclair's life where there wasn't really much in the way of new games coming out. So Your Sinclair focused on putting movies of the day that were released on the cover. And as you can see, we've got Batman Returns on the cover this month, even though there was no game released for it, at least not on the Spectrum. They'd also give away cover tapes, which would have some decent price games on there. We'll get into that in a few moments. And they'd also put crosswords on the cover. Would you like to complete the crossword? Well, you can't unless you buy it because the clues are all inside. Uh, anyway, diving into it, let's get going. Now, if you were talking about Batman Returns back in the day, it was, of course, law that you had to publish a photograph of Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. And there you can see Your Sinclair are keeping up with the regulations on the screen. Now, the first thing that we're actually going to look at is the cover tape, which they gave away with this month's magazine. The first game they gave away was the decent shoot 'em up Defenders of the Earth. I'll give you a quick look at that game now. It's ready to go on the screen. So, diving straight in. Oh, it helps actually if I take the emulator off pause. So here we go. Standard OPQA, space bar for firing. I think I played this quite a bit in the day. Doesn't mean I was any good at it. As you can see, my health bar is disappearing quite a lot. I'm sure there was a way that you could switch between the characters as well, but I'll be honest, just for the sake of having a bit of fun during this review, I didn't really look at how to do that. So, yeah, anyway, that's Defenders of the Earth for you. Not a bad little game, but I preferred some of the other games that were on the tape that month. So let's get into a bit more of what was on there. You had the Forbidden Planet game, nothing to do with the shop, nothing to do with the movie. This was a film, this was a game. I think actually it might have been based on the film, but it was certainly from Design. I would think it was part of the series that Dark Star came from, another movie, of course. So Design taking their inspiration for their games very much from the movies and cult science fiction movies back in the day. They also published unique exclusive content, usually for people sending in their games. This issue they had Conman the Barbaric. Love the play on words there, Your Sinclair, so fair play on that one. And then we dived into Logo. I think I spent probably the most amount of time on this game, on this particular tape. It was a puzzle game. Again, I don't know how good I was at the time. I'll have to dig it out and try and see how good I am at playing it. And then, of course, you had eSampler, which was a utility. I don't think I really bothered with it that much. And unless I dig out my actual Spectrum, which is up in the attic somewhere, I don't think I'm going to be able to do much of that neither today. However, I do want to show you some of the demo that came with this month's issue. Up in the top right-hand corner there, you can see Baruska from Marek, what was his name? Marek Fizer or Fisser. I do apologise if you're watching this and I've completely butchered your name, Marek. But let's see a bit of that now. You couldn't really do much with this as it was purely a rolling demo, but it was quite funny. So let's see it now for you. Yeah, you had this music playing at the beginning. And that's it. I found that amusing at the time. I also found it a bit confusing because I hadn't really come across much of those sorts of rolling demos, and I loaded it and played it a few times and thought, what am I supposed to do with it? You can't play it, you can't do anything. Of course, that's the point. It's all designed to show you what the programmer is capable of doing. But as I said at the time, what would I have been? I've been 17 actually. I still found it a bit confusing that you couldn't actually play it, but I wasn't really much of a coder or a programmer either. I think mine consisted about 10 print, Spectrums are cool, 20 go to 10. Right, anyway, getting back to the magazine itself. Again, you can see that they were struggling for covers, so there's a 2-page spread there on a trip to Walton Towers from the Your Sinclair team. I'm not even going to zoom in on that. But you can see lambs, you can see log flumes, and you can see plenty of things there. I think down the bottom left, actually, that might even be the corkscrew, which of course no longer exists. Right, and more news, and yeah, your news is less about Spectrum stuff and more about stuff to do. Oh, there are actually a couple of mentions of games up there in teasers. They talk about Turbo the Tortoise and a match of the day. Walton Towers again at the bus stop with Mrs. Esther Attire. What? Okay. And okay, here are your charts. These are the most popular games that were released at this particular time, topping off with Italian 90. Bearing in mind this magazine is from 1992, the most popular game was a re-release of a 2-year-old World Cup football game. In fact, actually, I don't know. I'm trying to see in that top 20 if there were any full price games. I think actually you've got to go all the way down to the bottom there. Yeah, I think the most popular full price game is all the way down the bottom there at number 20 for WWF WrestleMania. That's actually quite surprising. But actually, no, it's not quite surprising because a lot of the Spectrum's late life was made on budget re-releases for games that you could pick up for $2.99 and $3.99 that were previously big selling titles. I just find it very strange that that number one was a 2-year-old World Cup tie-in, but hey ho. Right, okay, now we get into the game reviews themselves. Bonanza Brothers, or Bonanza Bros, is the first game. They were okay with it. I think I played this game on the Sega. I don't think I ever played it on the Spectrum, and I really wasn't that enamored by it. I just probably wasn't very good at it, in all honesty. Reminded me a lot of They Stole a Million. That I think that was the game where you had to plan a heist. And again, I was never very good at that neither. Your Sinclair, as you can see, they gave it 66 degrees or 66%. And something else actually that I've noticed is because obviously they've got a Batman Returns thing, they gave lots of Batman facts. Here you go. Before he settled on the name Robin, Bob Kane considered the names Batlad, Mighty Michael, and Kevin for the Cape Crusaders sidekick. I'm not that well up on Batman lore, but something tells me that may not be completely accurate. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Okay, I think on the last one I talked about a game called 3D Pool. Here is the snooker version of it, Championship 3D Snooker. Sorry, not 3D Pool from Maltese Joe. This one was the American 3D Pool. Well, here's the snooker version of the game. And while I loved the pool game, it took me ages to play the snooker game. And when I did play it, it was very, very messy. It was harder to do because of the sheer amount of colours with snooker. And doing it in 3D on a computer where you get just a tiny amount of colour clash for just a tiny amount of pixel sharing, it makes for a mess. And you can see the mess on some of the screenshots actually. Made trying to find what colours you wanted very tricky. There, if you look down the bottom right of that screenshot, you've got a black ball up in the top right corner, which is half green. So, yeah. Okay, 70 degrees they gave it though, so they quite liked it. Oh, here's a game that I think is going to be played on my rubbish game reviews video series. 20 degrees international five-a-side football. I'm not a big football fan, but for such a low score, you've got to try it, haven't you? Okay, and here we go. Batman Returns, their article about the movie, which is nothing to do with the Spectrum game. They do actually go into details about Spectrum games down the bottom here. Um, so you've got the John Rittman and Bernie Drummond version of Batman from way back in 1988, I want to say. Followed by Batman and the Caped Crusader, which I've talked about previously on this series. Batman the movie. They were, of course, the three Batman games that came out on the Spectrum. And what did I think was the best? I think Batman the movie was probably the best of those. I never saw Batman 3D until ages after I'd played Head Over Heels, and it felt like the same game. Don't get me wrong, great game, but it just felt more of the same. And I know it came before Head Over Heels, but I think Head Over Heels just knocked that one out of knocked it out of the park. Okay, more Batman stuff because, well, no Spectrum game. And now we start talking about game reviews again. Sam Astroball. Um, I think I played the Spectrum version of this actually. I can't remember that much about it. Oh wait, was it the bouncy? Yes, it was the bouncy ball game. Yes, I did actually quite enjoy it. I never played the Sam version, as I said, but Your Sinclair seemed to enjoy it. 90 degrees they've given it. Vanquish vile villains, your free cut out and keep Batarang. This is what Your Sinclair had amounted to by this point. Paper Batarangs. Which would have meant that, of course, you would have lost half of your letters page, which is now on your screen. Oh, yes, that's right. They had all of these extra bits and pieces as well. So you had Doodlebugs, where you had people sending some stuff in to draw things usually about games that were coming out. Let's have a look at some of the humour that was on offer back in this particular magazine. Martin Pullinger Technology. I say fancy meeting you here, Small World, eh? It's obviously a joke at Miles Gordon Technology, the original company behind the Sam Coupe. It might have been funny at the time, don't get it now. Now, a sign of the times actually, down the bottom there, I thought that said Google it. And I just realised Google would not have been around at the time. That's good A. But I don't understand it. Maze Mania, yeah, and the hand of a very hairy man. What? Okay. And your obligatory star letter. What did they give away for star letters back at the time? Was it a copy of the Mega game or whatever? I don't know actually. Small print, where they just used small bits of letters that were sent in. Nowadays, it would be something like, oh, this is what we've captured on social media. These were actually letters that were written in, which were only that long. Soya Pico. Oh, that was all to do with Madame Pico or something. I don't remember what that was. Was she a clairvoyant fortune teller or something? But it was a running joke in that she went missing, or somebody in the family went missing, and uh, various members of the family would take over the page in her absence. I have to remind myself more about that. Norman Tebbett's Dead Serious Corner. I don't remember that. Was that a one-off, or was that a frequent thing? You know what? Let's have a quick look at the letter. I get a feeling it's going to be someone that's obviously very serious. I think there has been a decline in the standard of Dizzy games recently. Spellbound Dizzy. I think it would look much better if there'd been separate rocks that make up the ground, like in Magic Land and Fantasyland Dizzy. In Spellbound, all the screens look boring, especially the underground ones. Ooh, okay. Um, I blame Big Red Software. They seem to have let down Codemasters. What do you think? I don't know. I think the Dizzy games at the end of the life was just as good as it had always been. And talking about Spellbound Dizzy, so obviously Crystal Kingdom Dizzy hadn't come out by that point. The first full price Spectrum Dizzy game. There you had your Train Spotters as well. I used to write into Train Spotters, never got anywhere in there. Ooh. And the Wonderful World of Specky. Your Sinclair's letters from around the world, and I seem to remember they used to take the absolute Michael of some of them, and I'm wondering now, looking back, whether some of them could be racist. But anyway, I'm not going to go too deep into that letter. That's a very intriguing advert on the right hand side, isn't it? You know, the computer you've always dreamt about. Was it going to be Amiga? 1992, the Amiga had been out a good few years by this point. What is it? Well, stop dreaming. It is the Amiga. Oh, it's the Amiga 600. That's right. The very poor 500 replacement, which had no hard drive, if I remember. Yeah, I had the 500 after I had the Spectrum, and it was much, much better. Article on the left-hand side there. Where are they now? What happened to famous video game characters after their fame in the games themselves? What have we got? Valhalla, Olaf Olafsson. Gregory. Oh my God, Gregory loses his clock. And look at that, a reference to the Manic Street Preachers. Eye of the Mask, Ernie Krankenwagen is another of the Specky's great nameless characters. Was that something that Your Sinclair came up with themselves? Okay. Dodgy Geezers, Burke from Trapdoor. Truly fantastic Spectrum game. And Sam Cruz. Well, I don't know what happened to him, but I know how you can contact Sam Cruz. Sorry. Right, hints and tips. First one is a map. A map? That seems a very small map of Fantasy World Dizzy. Why is there just a 6-screen map? Or is this a... Ah, right, okay. Apparently there was some confusion over the final coin in Fantasy World Dizzy when they originally printed the map, and that's basically to say, here it is. And they've added a correction. Firelord, Astro Ball, there's that game again. Smash TV, Maze Mania, The Simpsons, Sam Coupe, Space Crusade, and The Bat Clinic. You can see they've really gone to town on Batman this month, can't you? Okay, Spellbound Dizzy, Practical Pokes. That's right, you could type those programs in, run the game, and if they worked, you'd end up with infinite lives or invulnerability or other such stuff. Captain Dynamo, James Bond, The Spy Who Loved Me. Enough said. Right. And again, we're talking about late in your Sinclair's life, so of course we're running short on page numbers. So they stuck a giant poster or a 2-page spread poster of Batman Returns in the middle. Again, just to specify, there was no Spectrum game of. How many more Batman references are we going to have in this issue then? Spec Tech. Well, we'll have Adam Waring dressed as Batman and several Bat logos across the screen, solving your technical issues. Surely there can't be any Batman references in the Adventures page. A review of Silver Wolf. Don't think I've ever played that. He quite liked it though. It looks like it was about a 9 to 10 out of 10. Not bad. Arnold the Adventurer 2, April the 7th. Notice something about those games? They're all released by Zenobi Software. who I think were the only companies really making Spectrum adventures back in the day, and I think you can probably still buy them from Zenobi to this day, and I'm not even joking. Okay, Ernie the Psychotic Madman cartoon strip. Win an incredibly scary trip to the London dungeons. Plus 50 copies of Hideous from Alternative. What was Hideous? Don't remember that. Public House PD Library. This was all demos and things again. And they obviously gave away a lot of demos on the front covers. Another advert for the Amiga. What is this? Final Approach? Are these previews? Yes, previews for DJ Puff's Volcanic Caper. Did that ever come out? I don't remember that name. Seymour's Wild West. I think that one did come out. I think that came out under a different name. More techie problems there on the right hand side. No, actually, I think this was more. Yes, this was more of an Agony Aunt page. Yes, it was. So yeah, Your Sinclair doing Agony Aunt pages. Program pit stops. Oh, there's Hideous there. That's the preview for Hideous. No, I don't know if that game ever came out by Alternative Software. Sleepwalker by Zeppelin. I don't think that one ever. No, that did come out actually. That came out as a tie-in game for Comic Relief, if I remember. Comic Relief or Children in Need at the time, and a lot of the proceeds of that game went to the charity. Okay, here you've got Flip. Flip was all about everything other than Spectrum games. So you've got the review there of the movie Flicks, Freddy as FR07, Killer Colin from Outer Space, science fiction rundown. Right, let's get my geek juices flowing here. Let's see what we've got in there. Star Trek The Next Generation. Oh, the news that there would be no more Star Trek The Next Generation on BBC Two until 1994. This was after they finished showing the third season and showed the last part of Best of Both Worlds. And then they didn't actually show any more until they'd done a complete run of the original series, which took up the best part of the next 18 to 21 months. And then they showed Next Generation again as from 1994. Okay, comics, Holy Haberdashery, onto the Sam Coupe, and the various reviews. Daylight Robbery. Now, what does that remind you of? It's not West Bank at all. That's actually the same graphics as West Bank. Did they just completely rip it off? In fact, that's what they actually say in the review, I've just noticed. Firstly, it's about bank robbers working in daylight, and secondly, it's been shamelessly stolen from the old dynamic game West Bank. Caramba. Right, and Pazook. Okay. More adverts. And then we get onto the reviews for the budget re-releases. Let's get into this, actually. Let's see what we've got. Emlyn Hughes International Soccer. Football game. 85%. Clacks. Your Sinclair had a real love of Clacks. 92% they gave it, even on its re-release. Every so often I'll start playing Clacks and think, I enjoyed this game. And then 10 minutes later, I usually put it away going, no, I didn't. So, yeah, Clacks looks great, sounds great. I just don't think it had much in the way of gameplay. Italy 1990. Here's that game that's at #1 in the charts. No, sorry, it was Italia 1990, wasn't it? There was two different versions. Italia 1990 and Italy 1990. This one got 44%, so Your Sinclair did not like it. Compilation of Hit Pack 2, Zeppelin, made by released by Zeppelin, with Las Vegas Casino, Pro Go-Kart Sim, Sabotage and Jockey Wilson's Dart Challenge. I think I had that compilation actually. $3.99. Yeah, I think I played it for Pro Go-Kart Sim, which I thought looked like Power Drift, and it wasn't. 60 Degrees, I think, is the right review for that. Okay, then we had Zoids, 30%. I know I play some awful games on the other video series on my channel, but I don't think I'm going to play Zoids. I think I found that one just boring. Finally, we get Sly Spy Secret Agent, 46%. I'm sure Your Sinclair had that on the cover of one issue as a mega game. So that's obviously fallen quite far in their estimation since then. Oh, a big advert for the Atari ST. Two-page spread of adverts for Daytel Electronics, printers, mice, interface drives. Don't forget as well, this is late on in the Spectrum's life, and they're still shelling out hardware for the product, so that's not bad. Then you get this subscribe page, more adverts, and you finish off with lots of premium rate phone lines on the back. Now, that's a 68-page magazine. I want to go back through and see how many of those 68 pages were taken up by actual Spectrum stuff. I'm guessing not that much. Let's find out. So obviously we're not going to cover the front cover. Right, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not. Let's say that bit up in the top left-hand corner is. Oh, actually, and the chart. We'll take that as 1 page. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sam Coupe doesn't count. 10. Oh, the tip shop. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. There we go. 29 pages out of 68 were actually on Spectrum games. Shows you they were struggling to put things in the cover, so no wonder they started putting things in like agony aunt pages and trips to Walton Towers and movie reviews, because there wasn't the product coming out for it at the time. The Spectrum scene these days is very, very popular. As a result, people are watching boring videos like this one. Hello, if you're still watching, by the way. And thanks very much anyway for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. We'll be publishing a couple of videos today because I'm planning on doing another crap game review, so that should be up shortly. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.